I want to start by being honest with you about something I did not understand until I moved to this property. I composted, I mulched, I bought kelp meal and fish emulsion in plastic jugs. I amended my beds every spring with bagged organic fertilizer, and I watched my fruit trees grow slowly, produce lightly, struggle in year 3 and 4 when they should have been taking off. And then I learned that coastal communities have been burying whole fish under their crops for centuries, not as some kind of backyard experiment, as a deliberate fertilization method that predates every product I was buying at the garden center. Let's get into it. I am going to walk you through exactly what I did, what happened, and what I wish I had known before I started. Because this method works. But if you bury fish incorrectly, you will have every raccoon and fox in a 2-mile radius in your garden at 2 in the morning. And I need you to stay with me on this one, because the depth matters more than anyone tells you up front. Here is what nobody tells you at the point of sale when you are buying fruit trees or vegetable starts. Those plants need nitrogen, they need phosphorus, they need trace minerals like zinc and iron and magnesium that show up in seaweed at concentrations you cannot easily replicate with a bag of synthetic fertilizer. And fish carcasses contain all of it, in a form that breaks down slowly, feeds soil organisms, does not leach away with the first hard rain. This is not new information. Indigenous peoples along the Atlantic coast buried alewives and herring with corn and squash. It was documented by European colonists in the 1600s. It worked then. It works now. And the reason you are not hearing about it from the fertilizer industry is because you cannot patent a fish. What I also did not fully appreciate until I started reading deeper into this is how consistent this practice was across completely unrelated cultures. Coastal communities in Japan buried fish scraps around their rice paddies. Fishing villages in Scandinavia plowed fish waste directly into their fields before winter. Pacific Northwest tribes used salmon carcasses to fertilize the forest edge gardens they maintain near river systems. These are not isolated experiments. This is convergent knowledge. People who lived close to the water and close to the land figured out the same thing independently because the results were simply undeniable. That pattern matters to me. Because when multiple cultures across thousands of miles arrive at the same practice without any contact with each other, it is not folklore. It is empirical knowledge accumulated over generations of observation that is worth paying attention to. Now, I started with 4 young apple trees and 2 beach plums. All of them planted the previous year. All of them alive but not thriving. The growth was fine, the leaf color was acceptable, but I was not seeing the kind of vigor I expected after 12 months in the ground. I had access to fish carcasses, bluefish, and false albacore that we caught offshore and filleted for the table. I saved the frames, the heads, the guts, and I had kelp. Actual seaweed I pulled fresh from the tide line after a storm, not dried, not bagged, whole fronds still wet and slick and full of salt. Here is what I did not know when I started. You cannot bury fish 6 inches down and call it done. That is the trap. Because 6 inches is exactly where every digging animal in your area is already working. Skunks, raccoons, possums, crows. They will smell it, they will excavate your tree well, and you will wake up to a crater where your mulch used to be. You need to go 12 to 18 inches down, depending on the size of the carcass, and you need to bury it a foot away from the trunk, not right next to it, because decomposing fish generates heat and concentrated nitrogen that can burn young roots if it is placed too close. I dug a trench around each tree, 12 inches out from the drip line, 16 inches deep. I layered in 1 whole fish carcass per tree, covered it with a few inches of soil, then added a thick mat of kelp on top of that, then backfilled the rest of the trench and tamped it down hard. Then I mulched over it with wood chips. That depth made all the difference. I had 0 animal disturbance, not 1 hole dug, and within 6 weeks I started seeing new growth that I had not seen the entire previous season. The apple trees pushed out lateral branches, thick ones, the kind that will bear fruit in year 3. The beach plums, which had been sitting there looking ornamental and polite, started sending up strong vegetative shoots and doubled their canopy width by the end of summer. Here is what all of this comes down to. Fish breaks down slowly. It is not like pouring on liquid fertilizer that hits the roots in 3 days and washes past them in 2 weeks. A whole carcass buried at depth feeds soil, bacteria, and fungi for months. Those organisms break down the protein and fat, they release nitrogen in forms the tree can actually use, and the kelp does something else. It brings iodine, potassium, and micronutrients that are borderline deficient in most inland soils, especially if you are gardening in sandy or glacial till like I am. And the combination of fish and seaweed creates a slow-release system that does not require reapplication until the following year. You are not buying bottles. You are not mixing concentrates. You are putting whole materials into the ground and letting decomposition do what it has always done. I want to take a moment here and talk about the soil biology side of this, because I think it is underexplained, and it is actually the whole point. When you bury a fish carcass, the first organisms to respond are bacteria. They move in fast, begin breaking down protein into ammonia compounds, and that nitrogen starts becoming available to plant roots within weeks. But that is just the beginning. As the carcass breaks down further, it becomes a food source for fungi. Mycelium threads into the decomposing material, and those fungal networks are already connected to your tree roots through mycorrhizal associations that exist in any reasonably healthy soil. What you are essentially doing is loading a delivery system that is already in place. You are not trying to force nutrients into the tree. You are feeding the intermediary network that the tree has spent its whole life building relationships with. That is why this method outperforms liquid fertilizer in the long run. Liquid fertilizer bypasses the network, it delivers directly and temporarily. Buried fish feeds the network itself. And a healthier network means a more resilient tree regardless of what you put on top of the soil in subsequent seasons. Now, I want to talk about timing. You can bury fish in early spring before the trees break dormancy, or you can do it in late fall after leaf drop. I have done both. Spring is easier because the soil is softer and you are already out there anyway, pruning and mulching and cleaning up winter damage. Fall works if you have access to fish during autumn fishing season and you want to get ahead of the spring rush. Do not bury fish in summer when the tree is actively fruiting. The nitrogen will push vegetative growth at the expense of fruit development. And do not bury it in the heat of July when decomposition accelerates and the smell becomes a genuine problem even at depth. I also tested this method on tomatoes and squash. I buried smaller bait fish, menhaden and mackerel, about 10 inches down at the base of each mound before transplanting. The results were exactly what I saw with the fruit trees. Darker leaves, thicker stems, earlier fruit set. The tomatoes I planted over buried fish outproduced the control plants by a margin I could see without weighing anything. We are talking more clusters per plant and larger individual fruit. One thing I want to address directly, because I get this question every time I bring this up with other gardeners. What about the smell during burial? Yes, it smells significantly. Plan your burial days accordingly. Do not do this on a warm afternoon when your neighbors have their windows open. Do it early in the morning on a cool day. Work efficiently, get it in the ground and covered quickly. Once it is backfilled and mulched, the smell dissipates faster than you expect. I have had guests walk through the orchard 2 days after burying fish and had no one mention anything unusual. The key is the depth and the wood chip mulch on top. That combination manages odor effectively during the initial breakdown phase. Here is what I need you to understand. This is not some kind of niche technique that only works if you live on the coast. You can replicate this with fish waste from a fishmonger, with bait fish you buy for exactly this purpose. With kelp meal, if you cannot source fresh seaweed, the principle stays the same. You are feeding the soil, you are building microbial populations, you are creating a reservoir of fertility that does not depend on trucking in bags of processed inputs every spring. A good fishmonger will often give away or sell cheaply the parts nobody wants. The heads, the bones, the collars. These are exactly what you are looking for. If you explain what you are doing, most will be happy to set scraps aside for you. And if you are nowhere near a coast, inland fish markets process freshwater species year-round. Carp, catfish, tilapia. The biology is the same, the benefit to your soil is the same, and I am telling you this because I spent years doing it the other way. I spent money on products that worked for 6 weeks and then required reapplication. I watched my trees grow at half the rate they should have, and I did not know that the method I needed was older than the catalogs I was reading. So here is what I would do if I were starting over. Source fish carcasses in spring or fall. Whole is better than fillets or scraps because the bones add calcium and phosphorus as they break down. Dig deeper than you think you need to. 12 to 18 inches minimum. Place the fish a foot away from the trunk, not against it. Layer seaweed or kelp on top if you have access to it. Backfill. Tamp it down. Mulch heavily. And go in with realistic expectations. You will not see results in 2 weeks. This is not a quick fix, but you will see stronger growth by midsummer, better fruiting the following year, and healthier soil every season after that. The orchard I am managing now looks nothing like it did 3 years ago. The canopy is fuller, the branching structure is stronger. The fruit quality has improved in ways that are genuinely difficult to attribute to anything else, because fish burial is the one major variable I changed. I stopped buying most of what I used to buy. I started looking at what was already available to me in a different way, and the trees responded. Drop a comment below. Tell me if you have access to fish waste where you live and what crops you are growing, because someone in your area might be looking for a source, and this community is exactly how that information moves. If this is the kind of information you want before you spend another season buying fertilizer you do not need, subscribe. This is exactly what gets covered here every week.